there was obviously a lot of aggression, and a lot of it, stemmed from you following the rules that you were charged with upholding when you took the oath to become a sheriff. Um, it seems that there was a real cover your own ass like environment that you were in. Um, when when did the aggression, the overt aggression, really start?
It
Did it start
started.
from the pyramid scheme thing, or did it start from you talking about the the drug thing that we're about to get into?
Well, it started with the pyramid first of all, and then also it started with the drug. Me
Hmm.
working narcotics.
Right.
Watching them plant drugs and beat young black offenders to the ground and take money, man.
Hmm. So would you say, Florida has a reputation, obviously, for, deep-seated racism. Um, would you say that the large motivation for the behaviors in terms of in the treatment of the black citizens there had to do with the a racist ideology that was prevalent in the Broward Sheriff's Office?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, they wouldn't even allow us to go out on the streets, man. They wanted to keep all the blacks in the jail, and all the Caucasian working out on the streets,
Hmm.
and it was just that kind of, atmosphere, man. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. And then it wasn't until I think a brother named Dennis Allen actually filed a lawsuit, and from there they started taking a lot of blacks and putting them out on the street. But during that tenure, man, they had a lot of Caucasian out actually on the streets, and most of us we actually worked inside the jail. They wouldn't allow us to come out the jail, you know. And it wasn't
Hmm.
until I think Dennis Allen filed a lawsuit against the department, and he was one of the blacks that actually went through. And back in the days, you can look up the history of the Broward Sheriff Office. They didn't have a lot of blacks on the street back then, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
um, but I don't think it's about color, in a sense, because there was a lot of blacks and as well as Caucasian and whites doing things that was morally wrong and totally unethical, my brother, you know. And especially in my situation, there was blacks and whites that was associated with my arrest and everything else that took place.
Hmm. Um, Before we get to that dramatic event of your arrest, where the 60 officers showed up at your house, um, let's talk about the precipitating circumstances that led up to that. So, when you were recruited into this narcotics group, this undercover sting group, you guys would go out and bust all of the guys who are actually out there selling drugs, get them off the street, and then go out as the drug dealers yourself and basically pretend to be the drug dealers, and people would buy from y'all. And um I mean, how did I mean, was it buy somebody buy from y'all and then y'all bust them, or somebody buy from y'all, then the police, I think you said the police would come, and then you would, as the seller, run off, and then the person would be standing there holding the crack that you, as an officer, undercover officer, just sold them?
Yes. What it is that, we used to do buy buses, but we also used informants. A lot of the
Mm,
departments actually use informants, individuals that actually go out and commit a crime. And in order for them to get a sentence reduction, they actually, some of them have a control number where they get paid, by the department. And what these individuals does is that, because you can't just take a person who's not from that particular area, and have that individual trying to sell drugs, because there's boundaries or whatnot, if you're not from that area, you're definitely not going to be selling drugs in that particular area. Because if you do,
mhm,
it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? They're going to kill you.
right.
And of
S-
course, we would take individuals who've actually associated or affiliated with that particular area, that worked in that area, that went out and got themselves arrested, and we would send that individual back in that same particular area, you know. And unbeknown to the drug dealers, that person is working for law enforcement,
mhm.
as an informant. And
Right.
they will actually go and make transactions with the dealers, and they would come back and give us the intel on who these peoples are. And then, of course, what we did is we moved in and we arrested each and every last one of them, put them in the paddy wagon of the ones that they identified, and then we posed as undercover sellers. The Broward Sheriff Office will manufacture their own drugs and give it to us to be sold in the street, which is entrapment.
Right. Now, D, when you said that in your book, bro, I was like, I was discussing it with my wife, and I was like, now, when he says they were manufacturing their own drugs, I need details, my dude. Like, what do you mean that the Broward Sheriff's Office was manufacturing their own drugs?
Well,
What
I
do you
tell
mean?
you what, when you get a chance, my brother, go to Google and you type in Broward Sheriff Office makes its own crack cocaine. And you can see it there with your own eyes, where we had a deputy over at the courthouse, I think around the 7th floor, and they was cooking up the crack cocaine and give it to us.
What?
Yeah, and they was given to us to be sold in the street, which is entrapment.
It's that's more than entrapment. That is criminal organization. It's a different thing. I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of them. I've heard of cops doing that kind of reverse sting thing, but they would use the drugs that they had confiscated from people whom they'd arrested by way of those, informants, which you flip a lot of informants. Obviously, if you pretending to be a drug dealer and you're really a cop and some random person who just getting high, just want to get high, and, you bust them, naturally they're going to be like, sure, I'll go and make sales for you, or whatever, or make buys for you. But then the drugs that would be being sold or, used in that transaction would usually be drugs that were confiscated from some drug dealer, not actually cooked up by a law enforcement agent. That's insanity, bro.
Insanity is an understatement, and that's one of the things that they were doing, and I never could understand it, man. You know what I mean?
So now they give y'all this work that they cooking up. So y'all, somebody's running a drug organization, insulated and under the auspices of this, elite drug, sting, unit or whatever, right? And so you said that they were your coworkers out there posing as cops were supposed to be selling these rocks for $10, but they were selling them for as much as $40. And then they would turn in the $10 that was expected back in, just like people used to work for me. If I give you something and I want to be paid the set amount per unit, so I know what to expect. So what your coworkers, according to what I read in your book, what your coworkers were doing was they were just adding a premium and keeping the extras. So they're walking away from the street every day, working as undercovers with thousands of dollars of crack money in their pocket. It is turning into prerequisite $10 per rock that they were given. Is for real?
That's correct, because what it is, I never forget it. We was off of Sunrise Avenue and Sunrise and Andrews Avenue and 4th Street. And this particular area was notorious for illegal activity. It was like a duplex where these guys were selling cocaine rocks for $40, $50, $60. And when we arrested them, we posed as undercover sellers. So when the person come up to purchase the drugs, they would give you $60, but the rock cost $10. So of course, when you make the transaction with that person, they was turning in $10 and they was keeping the other 50 for their pocket. So at the end of the night, everything has to be tallied up, my brother, put in a manila folder. And there's a red tape that says evidence with drugs and money. All that stuff goes in a manila folder, and there's a red tape that says evidence with a supervisor's signature. So that if you try and break the seal, they'll know that someone had tampered with that particular folder.
Right.
Well, these guys were leaving with thousands of dollars each and every night that we out there working. I said, you guys are no different than the ones we just arrested. You should be in the paddy wagon yourself.
Right.
And they told me to go mind my own business. I said, what you mean, mind my own business?
You're incorporating me into a conspiracy. What do you mean? It is your business, right? You're here. If you're there with them and they're doing that, you know what it is. Like, that's craziness.
It's just like any other drug dealer. If the cops snoop in on you and you got 4 or 5 people within the same area of that individual, then you get arrested for conspiracy because you're there, you know. And if you have any type of association with it, you know, they're going to charge you with it. You conspired, you combined to do what? To commit an illegal act. That's what conspiracy is.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I found what you're talking about too. Yeah, this is crazy. They really were doing this. Whether the manufacture of crack cocaine by law enforcement officials for use in reverse sting operation constitutes governmental misconduct, which violates the due process clause of the Florida Constitution. Yeah, this is, man, you were wrapped up in some serious, you know. But so all right, so now this is happening. You're speaking up. They know you ain't down with it. You ain't with this, as they say. So now do you immediately, like, the moment that, I mean, how long are you a part of this organization, this unit, before you recognize that this is happening?
They was pulling me out for like 1 or 2, about 1 or 2, 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. No, about 2 years, from 98, 99. It started in 1990, then 98, 99.
So these things, this unit would operate intermittently. It would go for so long, and then it would stop, and then it would restart again.
No, they continue to do it. You know, it's just the fact that they use certain people.
Oh, okay. They were circulating.
Because a lot of times, like me, you know, since I'm actually from the hood, you know, let's say if they put me in District 5, when the brothers see me, they know exactly, like, oh man, no, I'm out. You know, they leave, you know, because they recognize and they know that I'm a deputy sheriff. So therefore, you know, there was some time that they didn't use me, you know.
Right. Yeah, I wondered about that. I was like, okay, he worked for 15 years at the detention center, which a lot of the people who would be on the street would have come through, and they would have known him, and you had a high profile within the detention center. So how were you able to be effective in the capacity as a clandestine drug dealer, undercover cop playing a drug dealer? You know what I mean? How often were people recognizing you is what I wondered.
Well, one thing is for sure, I'll never forget it. We was working, when you're working out there in narcotics and you're working at night, once you arrest these individuals, man, you take them off the street and you get out and pose. These people who are buying the drugs, some of them may have known me, but a lot of them don't know you. So therefore, you know, they don't have no inkling to say, oh, I know this person's a deputy, you know. Only thing they want to do is, you know, they like dope fiends, you know what I mean? They want to just go and buy the drug and move on out, you know, get it and go. So, of course, we was over by Dillon High School, it was with the Cradle within 1,000 feet of a school, 3 years in state penitentiary. If you get
Cradle
caught,
was the name of the operation, correct? Cradle?
Yeah, the Cradle was the operation, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And within 1,000 feet of a school was 3 years in state penitentiary. You know, that's what the sentence is, automatic. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you get caught within 1,000 feet of a school, you automatically get three, the judge decide to give you, but it's a lot of time that you get, you know, just for the fact that you actually, you know, buying crack cocaine within 1,000 feet of a school was just 3 years in the state penitentiary. And of course, that's when I was doing most of my narcotic work, you know. And
sorry, go ahead.
And of course, what we would do is, like I said, we out there posing as undercover sellers, and we make, you know, drug deals with these people, man. And we used to wear like a towel or a hat, you know. And once we make the transaction with the person, you know, we will actually take off our hat or take off the towel, back up and proceed to move in, you know. And when backup move in, you know, we take off running. You know what I mean? I take off running to make them think that, you know, I'm not with this here. I'm a drug dealer. I'm running from the cops, you know.
Right.
But actually, I'm actually a cop myself. So, yeah. So, you know, you have to, you know, you and I both know that when you're working out on the street, you know, even the people that actually buy drugs, if you're not somewhat familiar with the street terminology, like, yo, my nigga, what's happening, man? I got them parlays, you know. If you're not talking like that, you know, if you're talking normal, you know, they're gonna know that something not right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I got the crack. How much crack do you want to buy? I got $10 cracks.
That's not gonna work. You know what I mean? They're gonna know immediately that you somebody else. You know what I mean? They're gonna turn and go away. You know, so
no
so
doubt.
you definitely got to get the hood on them. You know.
Right. So okay.
And plus, I had goals in my mouth. I had 3 goals in my mouth.
Oh, you had goals and all that?
Yeah, I had 3 goals in my mouth. Yeah, I was deep undercover.
Was that for the purpose of doing this thing?
Well, you know,
or
to be
you
honest,
just a Florida boy, you just had gold in your mouth?
Well, you know, my whole family got all goals, and the whole family got full of goals in their mouth. You know, all my cousins and everybody else, man. Every teeth is gold. You know, so I think it was like a fad back in the days. So I had 1 gold tooth, you know, with a star, and eventually I wound up putting 2 more in my mouth. You know. But thank God I got all of my out. You know, as a matter of fact, they actually came out while I was incarcerated. To be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I kept brushing real hard, man, trying to get them out. You know, because I'm like, Lord, you know, I just want to get away from this type of life.
Yeah. Yes, man. I could dig that.
Yeah, but my whole family, you look at them now, every teeth in their mouth is gold. Am I lying?
That's Florida. That's Florida. I lived in Florida for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Florida.
Yeah, they call it the grill.
Yep. And they come from the poorest environments, boy, but they're gonna have them goals. They're gonna have them.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have trues and bowls. They're gonna have cars, and they're gonna have gold teeth, and they're gonna definitely keep money in their pocket. You know, and they live in the green apartments. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.